Sometimes I regret tackling subjects that turn into week-long projects of discovery. This week's mistake is Social Security, American style. The internet delivered me more choices than I imagined could exist. But they do, and you can go back in time to 1935 when FDR got Social Security through the Congress. Since then, the growth in the program and its sister Medicare have been monumental. Right now, the two programs eat up 40% of all federal spending. And you might be pleased to know that $107 trillion of unfunded liabilities exist. It would take 8 years of economic production to equal that cost, which is twice the entire world's annual GDP. Well, what's wrong? Lots. First unfortunate fact. Contributions are insufficient to provide promised benefits. Back in the dark ages of 1940, there were 42 workers helping the one retiree get by. Today, it is 3 to 1, heading for 2 to 1, with the tax rate rising. It is a classic Ponzi scheme. New contributions are used to pay off earlier contributors. The second problem is life expectancy. The Wall Street Journal carried an article on April 18th headlined, "The richer you are, the older you'll get." Written by Josh Zumbran, the article discusses data on people born in 1920 and in 1940. The comparison between men and women is correlated to their income levels. Example, looking at a man born in 1940, the data from the study of this particular man at the midpoint of his career shows him in the top 10% for his age group. If that man lives to age 55, he can expect to live an additional 34.9 years, to be 90. That is 6 years longer than a man whose career followed the same pattern but who was born in 1920. For the men in the poorest 10%, they can expect to live only another 24 years, only a year and a half longer than his or their 1920s counterparts. How about the ladies? At every level of income, women live longer than men. The wealthiest ladies from the 1940s are living longer than the 1920s group, but the poorest 40% are seeing life expectancy decline from the previous generation. Now, all this is interesting, but the bottom line is we are lasting longer in drawing down the non-existing Social Security fund. Now, the third concern is increasing medical costs. Over the recent decades, Medicare costs have risen 3% annually above the increase in per capita gross domestic product. Put all this together, and we have a crisis of confidence. We mere private citizens don't believe that our elected officials are getting the job done. Right now, if you were a beneficiary of that portion of Social Security called disability benefits, you are concerned. Why? Because that trust fund is running out of money today. The New York Times reported in July of 2015 that 11 million people faced a deep, abrupt cut in disability insurance benefits in late 2016 unless the disability fund was replenished. The government reported that the squeeze on the disability program was, quote, but the first manifestation of larger financial imbalance facing Social Security as a whole, as well as Medicare, unquote. And Medicare Part B premiums paid by 30% of the 55 million people could go from $104.90 today to $159.30 a month. That's a 52% rise. Most people on Medicare have their premiums deducted from their monthly Social Security checks. These folks are protected from increases because their premiums cannot rise more than the dollar amount of the cost of living increase in their Social Security checks. So here's the bad news, though. There is no cost of living raise in Social Security checks again this year. Over the last 40 years, there have been only 3 instances of no cost of living increases, all 3 during President Obama's time in office. But if you are not on Social Security but need to use the disability fund, your costs are going up. Now, here's some useless news. Medicare spent an average of $12,430 per beneficiary in 2014. That's up 2% from the previous year. $4,900 of that went to hospitals, $5,400 went to doctors and other outpatient services, and $2,100 went to prescription drugs. Nice to know where our tax dollars are going. So what is the message